What you look up on?
46.
Oh, 46.
Sugar Hill. Sugar Hill, that was Boost area.
Yeah, 146.
Right around with the yellow Camaro.
So like, would you say like out of the group, you know, obviously knowing you through Jay and whatever y'all was doing, I always kind of looked at you because Boots and them will tell you like I'm that type of hustler, right? Ain't on your level, but I love that hustler mentality.
Yeah.
Would you think it came from the hood, like from where you came from?
100%.
A lot of kids were like you that didn't make it, or?
I mean, a lot of people, if they would focus their drive on things that they might have thought were unattainable. Like my thing was, if I could win in the street, then I could win anywhere.
Yeah.
Most people from the street think they could only win in the street, but they don't realize the ideals and to play the game fair in a world where a lot of people cheat. You know, if you could survive the hood, you could survive anything. Corporate is easy. You understand what I'm saying? So I just never was afraid of corporate or doing things on another level. Plus, I was about longevity, and I would, I'm like a time traveler. I would take myself to the future and be like, if I'm gonna keep living this extreme lifestyle, it didn't seem like there was a future. You know what I'm saying? So it was like I could take these ideals and apply it to something that would be good for my future, and then also the future of my family. So like he'd be there when I'd be arguing with the rest of the crew when I was in the music business. Your groups ain't gonna do nothing, and it was laughing at my group every day. You know what I'm saying? It was like that. And he saw that, you know what I'm saying? So, the hood just doesn't believe that they could do anything but hood shit. You know what I'm saying? But I always was like, I went to private school when I was young. It ain't that hard over there, Paul. It's kind of actually easy compared to what we're doing over here.
Tell you one thing, man. If he believed in you, when he believed how he believed in Jay-Z, he'd fight for you through thick and thin, man. You can't say no wrong. Jay couldn't do no wrong.
So how did that label come together? Like, because I think Jay from Brooklyn, like, how did you bring that together? How did y'all?
Clark Kent introduced me to Jay. Right. But Jay kind of had Nike Airs on. So at the time, there's a very distinct difference between Brooklyn and Harlem. Right. So he kind of had like a Harlem swag about it. You know what I'm saying? But he was doing the same thing we was doing as far as in the street, and we had that kind of a common ground.
What year was that? Take me back. Give me a guess. Like
90. 96, man. No, it might have been 90. 91, 92. Right. It took us about 4 or 5 years to hit the road hard, because then I had put him on a record with Original Flavor. So when I would tour Original Flavor, I would have him come out and perform that one record, but he would have the best response. You know what I'm saying? But we had to put that groundwork in for a long period of time. It wasn't like a hit record. Right. It was like you had to build a foundation. We had to literally, shake hands or give a pound to 500,000 people before we even put out a record that were like-minded. You understand what I'm saying? Like we appealed to a certain demographic, and whoever related to what we was doing or was doing what we was doing, those were our initial fans. But then after that, we caught a record that hip hop culture, and we just decided because I was trying to shop Jay, and I took him to a ridiculous amount of A&Rs, again, which was too humbling for me to have these nerds telling me that he's not gonna make it. So we decided let's just do it ourselves. So we did it ourselves, and I wanted to find a name that reflected what our crew meant. Right. And Tone Hooker, who was part of Original Flavor at the time, came up with Rockefeller, and that's what we just called the Rockefeller Records, because it represented like the Rockefeller, a tradition of having wealth, generations, but also you play with us, a fella could get rocked, that kind of thing. So it was almost a double.
What was that record? What you knew that things was about to take? Was it one record or you just?
No, I knew it. Everybody was a nerd to me. So I was just like, if they win, then we gonna win. And if they're not gonna give us the opportunity, we gonna take it. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I was approached it. It just was a matter of time. Right. It was always a matter of time. I've been doing. I was gonna do it since I was 8.
You seem like the type of dude though. Like it don't matter. It could have been like movies, music, whatever the start was gonna be. I think it just ended up being music. But you got a passion for the hustle, like overall. Like, are you tied to just the music side of?
I've been tied to the music. I ain't been doing music. I ain't made no money in music in 15 years. Right. I make money from fashion. I done traveled the world. I went to China, Thailand, everywhere just to see if there's anybody cooler than me. I'm looking at the millennial generation. Music been played out. That's like pitching to me. Right. You can't really make no money immediately off music, especially when it's off somebody else. So for me, it was like, I had to have the realization, like, all right, I made money off somebody, but look how they treat you. They break out. I can't give none of that to my kids. So now it's time to have enough confidence to invest in what inspires me, my point of view. So I spent the last 10 years redefining what I mean. Right. I appeal to the millennial generation. I'm about having taste and eating healthy and treating women right and showing people how to be independent and get money. I'm not really about teasing people for not having it. I'm about teasing people that don't listen when I tell them how to get it. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm going to tell you how to get it. And I'm going to share, and I'm going to play the game fair. To survive at a corporate level, you almost kind of have to cheat. You know, anyone surviving at this level has had to bend over. There's no not doing it, because how can somebody rape you unless you let them? And that's the only way that corporate could make money with you, is raping you. You understand what I'm saying? There's no way you could be with corporate without them raping you unless you're equal partners. There's no way. And that's just, you know, I couldn't have that blind eye. I couldn't turn around and get pulled. I just couldn't do it. So, you know, I had to go my way and do it my way and represent what I represent. And that's what this movement is. Now I can, like, what happened is I'd be looking out for my homeboys and everybody else would be looking at me sideways. You know what I'm saying? And it'd be like, yo, I give my homeboys the opportunity, but, you know, it wasn't completely mine. I had a part. So I had to do something that was completely mine so I could do what I want with it. You understand? So now that it's mine, and I redefine what I'm supposed to be, my homeboys share my platform. Whoever's cut from my cloth, you know, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to share.
My question, like, this is the last question about that, because I want to get into what you're doing now, but when you're young, you don't understand that things go in movements, right? You on way? Yeah. And, like, you see a movement begin and end, but you got to get older to understand exactly where they begin and the ebbs and flows. Did you see the ending of that particular movement when it was happening? Did you saw it?
Rockefeller?
Yeah.
I mean, once Jay went the other way and made it clear that he wanted to be corporate, the movement was over. Once it wasn't about the friendship.
Yeah, but at that time, could you
at that time, you know, you gotta remember, Jay was always saying he was gonna quit from reasonable doubt.
Right.
So it was never me thinking that I'm gonna be eating off Jay anyway. So I had already done Rockware, I already created Rachel Roy, I already invested in other artists. Right. You know, I always had my transition plan. I did The Woodsman, I did Shadowboxer, I learned how to direct, I learned how to do fashion. I learned how to not sell someone else's celebrity, but sell my skill. Right. And that's really that didn't just happen overnight. I saw that a mile away. I'm always living in the future. Whatever I'm doing now is dictated by my past. I have to prepare for my present. So right now, I'm not even here. I'm in my future. You understand what I'm saying? What I'm doing right now is not for today. It's for tomorrow.
So now, let's talk about the now. You can do anything you want to do. So obviously, you're choosing to do certain things.
Right.
You got the book. Let's talk about the book.
Well, Culture Vultures is a book I did with Hip Hop Motivator, which I got a shirt on today. You know. And it's just honestly, you know, because I'm not in the music business and because I don't have to worry about getting blackballed, because, you know, I'm not in the game of getting raped or robbed. I'm exposing everyone that I think has hurt my culture firsthand. The people that I've had that experience with, like Leor Cohen and Todd Moskowitz and Charlie Watt and Alan Brumblatt from Koch. I watched them rob me.
How can I get the book right now? How can I get it?
I can send it to you.
I'm trying to support. I need to get it.
It's not out yet. Really what I was waiting for is, number one, because we did I represent this independent life, I got to put it out independently. So the book's written, you know, but we figured out how to distribute it. Plus, you know, Raquel's still, my girl, she's still doing the art. So, you know, once we finish all that and figure out how to distribute it, you know, one thing is making the food, you also got to serve it and sell it. Right. And make sure people have the opportunity to buy it. So it's like I'm the creative, I'm also the administrative, I'm also the marketing, you know, it just goes a little slower, but it lasts long.
But the book's coming.
Yeah, the book is there. I can send you the book. You can read it and tell me how you like it.
I need it. All right, DVD, I saw you online. First of all, you got an online show. Let's talk about that.
Nah, you know, that's on NBC. That's on NBC in Raleigh, like 1:30 in the morning. You can watch it, you can actually physically turn the channel and look at it.
How many episodes you in on?
I'm 6 in.
6 in?
Yeah, we get 1.0.
Talk about the show, man. What you be talking about?
The show's about education. Right. It's about enlightenment. It's about showing the millennial generation how to do it on their own. There's a direct-to-consumer relationship because of the internet that could be exercised at all times, so there's no excuse not to get it. Right. And I'm just making sure people know. So, you know, what happens is once, you know, in our culture, once we know it, we try to hide it. Because we're afraid somebody's going to take it from us. But what they don't understand is the more like-minded people, the bigger your team is. The bigger your team is, the more you're going to eat. And the more you get protected. But if it's just me versus everybody, which it's been for the last 10 years, y'all see, I fought all these fights on my own. When nobody believed. The only reason why people believe now is because I sustained it and I'm still